So, I know you have Talk is Underrated, you have your poetry, and in addition, you have like your own kind of brand, don't you? The Anoop. Because I've seen your account. There is a little bit of story. There's a little bit of.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is like your brand? Like apart from Talk is Underrated, all of that. You as an individual, what is your brand? What do you represent? What do you stand for?
I mean, I would say throughout my life, I've always been working towards things that I believe in.
Yeah.
Like ventures that I believe in. Anything. Whatever. I love working for myself. And I think my account represents that. It's all my interests. It's all the things I want to put out to the world. It's all the messages I want to put out to the world. It has a lot of wholesome stuff. It has a lot of just plain nonsense that I am. It has fitness in it. It has everything that I am as a person. But no, I would say it doesn't have everything I have as a person. It's everything that I like to show to the world.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Visionary Stories podcast. I have lost count of which episode it is, but I know I have an amazing guest. Today on the show, we have the founder of Talk is Underrated. We have a visionary and extraordinaire, someone who thinks outside the box, someone who does a lot more than he tells that he does. We have Anoop Anil Kumar.
Yes. Thank you, Toby, for having me on this podcast. I am very excited.
Thank you so much for coming, and let's see where this goes.
Welcome back to the Visionary Stories podcast.
We started just off a phone call and now we're like doing big things and big shit, you know, like
We're all
So something inside of me was telling me that, you know what, it can't be this way.
you should always put yourself first.
And it's really like if you have a vision and you have a passion for it, just go ahead and do it, because
So even if someone tells me not to do it, like
people who bash sometimes bash because they don't get it. And once they get it,
really at the end of the day, I'm gonna do it.
then that's it. You've got your supporters.
You know, try to have as much fun as you can.
The best thing about being the youngest is you get to learn from others' mistakes.
Don't worry about other shit in your life.
But until you discover something for yourself, it doesn't become a part of you.
Let it grow naturally. And I find like that's the biggest thing I've ever taken.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Visionary Stories.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Visionary Stories podcast.
So, Anu. Okay, so Talk is Underrated. What else do you have going?
I also write poetry.
I've heard.
I'm being published in an anthology.
What?
And apart from that, I study business. And I'm in my final year of BBA.
Okay.
And I guess that's all that...
Don't say that's all. There's a lot. There's a lot.
But I'm saying, I guess that's enough for an introduction.
Okay, so let's run it back. Right? Take me back to your childhood days. Where were you born? How was it like? Did you have any siblings? Like, give me the whole gist of it. Like,
I was born in Bangalore, where we are shooting this right now.
First episode in Bangalore. Let's go.
And soon after I was born in Bangalore, I moved to Ahmedabad for 2 years. Then I moved to Kochi for a year. Then I spent like 9 years of my life in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I came back to Kochi.
Okay.
And then I have come to Bangalore. I do have a sibling, and my childhood was fun. It was carefree. It was fun. Yeah, it was a little weird at times too, but like I owe a lot of what I think or the way I view things right now because of my childhood.
Take me, because the only thing that really stood out there was the Nigeria.
Yeah.
What happened there? Like, how did you end up in Nigeria?
How did I end up in Nigeria? I wasn't transported there or anything. It's just that my dad used to work there and he was working there for like 20 years. So there's a huge Indian crowd in Nigeria.
Really?
So one person refers another person and people end up there.
Okay.
So like that, my dad was referred there and I went there. And I went there first when I was like 2 years old just to visit. And then I started living there when I was 6 in my first grade. And it was nice. It was very sheltered. Like when I look back at it, I really wish that I could have interacted with more people of the country.
Yeah.
But like obviously, because of safety concerns and stuff like that, and because of also certain prejudice that my parents had, I was very sheltered there. I mostly interacted with like Indian people. So I'm not saying that's terrible. That's fun, but I feel like I had an opportunity which I need to pursue later.
Do you think you'll ever go back?
I know I'll go back. I want to. I really want to.
Okay, so now take me to your schooling. How was your schooling? Because you moved around a lot.
Yes,
Right?
yes,
So
I
how
did.
did the schooling situation go for you?
So I think my first memory of schooling is probably in Kochi, where it was very vague. I don't remember much of it at all. Then I went to Nigeria. My schooling was quite interesting. It was actually a little weird at first because most of the people over there were North Indians, and I'm from Kerala. So everyone speaking in Hindi, and I didn't understand any of it. I was like, what is going on? But I think I would say that it was good that I had that experience. I feel like from an early age I've been adapting to new environments, and that's something that stuck with me till today. And so that was Nigeria, the schooling, this and that. Then I came to Kochi. That's where I've met some of my best friends. And I still I hold them in regard till today. Yeah.
Damn, that's really interesting, man.
Okay.
Alright, man. So you founded Talk is Underrated, right? Like for the people watching, right?
Sure.
Tell them what Talk is Underrated is all about.
So Talk is Underrated as of now is a platform for people to speak, for people to engage in conversations related to mental health. It happens both online and offline. We provide our online space, Instagram, for people to come up and share their experiences with mental health and other socially stigmatized or taboo topics. So it ranges from everything from mental health to social issues to gender issues, everything like that. If you feel like you have a story and you want to share it, Talk is Underrated is there for you. And we have that offline too. But offline, we focus on imparting more education. So we have actual professionals come up and, actually guide people about if you resonate with one of the experiences, then here is something that you can do. They give you ways for you to actually reach out and get help. So that's what Talk is Underrated is. And I would like to say that our vision for the future is that we want mental health resources to be available for the youth, for students, for the youth. We want it to be present. If we want it to be talked about, we want resources to be there and we want spaces to be there for kids in the future so that if they ever feel like they want to reach out, they don't have to think twice. If they ever feel like they do have an issue, they don't have to keep it within themselves and let it eat themselves from inside. So that is Talk is Underrated.
That's a really nice intro. Have you been practicing that?
I can't say I have. Actually, because we've done events before, I've had to introduce Talk is Underrated. And I have done 1 or 2 interviews before where I had to talk about.
So it just became a template now.
So I mean, it's that, and also I'm clear about what it is. I'm clear about what we are working towards. So it's not something that I need to really think about and begin.
Yeah. Tell me how it started, man. Because I know because we talked about this earlier before we started.
We did.
And there's a little bit of a story there.
So how it started was that during my teenage years, I was getting really close to people who had mental health issues. And with that, I would say that was my first interaction with the entire topic of mental health. And I started talking to people about it. Because it was happening to people very close to me, I wanted to do something to help them. So I was, really getting invested in the idea of mental health care and basically just trying to know more about it. And as I kept digging, I put out a message out there that I want to do something about it. I used to host offline events, open mics, tournaments and stuff like that. So I had platforms where I could promote it offline because I would say it was pre-COVID. So I felt like the best message actually gets received offline. Even today, I feel like the best message gets received offline.
That is true.
I feel like this conversation we're having right now,
It's much better that it's offline than
Exactly. So I wanted to host an event for mental health awareness. I couldn't do that because of COVID. So I put out my message that I wanted to do this. I still want to do it, but online. So anyone interested, anyone passionate about the cause, hit me up. So a few people hit me up and we all brainstormed. We came up with names, we came up with structures. And I started this initiative along with the help of some other very, very, very talented people, very, very smart people and empathetic people. And we started it around June 2020 during the pandemic. And we lent our space to people if they wanted to share their stories with mental health. And with each story, our community grew, and certain stories of ours have reached places and people and numbers that I would have never thought of. Just something that I was thinking in my bedroom. I would never thought that it would have the impact that it had. I mean, it all goes out to the people who helped us grow, to the people who've been willing to share their stories on our platform, and to the wonderful volunteers we've had at Talkers Radio. And me also. Can't deny that.
Talk me through about how it happens. How does, imagine I'm reaching out to you with an experience to share with Talkers Radio. How would that work?
So how it would work is that you can reach us on email, you can reach us on the number that's mentioned there, you can call us up, you can text us on WhatsApp, or you could even DM us. Once you do that, we will engage you in conversation. We will ask you, are you ready to, what form of media would you like to share your story in? And we would try to find the form that is most comfortable with you, because after all, it's your experience and it's something, the lines that we work on is something very sensitive, right? It's mental health, it's a lot of trauma at times, it's a lot of, things that have really impacted the person.
Yeah.
So we try to find what's most comfortable for the person, and that's how we put up their experiences. Because we want, and obviously we like every single piece of content that goes out on Talkers Untitled is screened by a mental health professional. So we work with multiple mental health professionals who we have networked with since the inception of the page, and everything that goes up gets screened because at the end of the day, although we have volunteers who are studying psychology, we have people, we are not professionals. So when you're putting content out like this, it must be screened by a professional. That is very important for anyone watching. If you are spreading out, I get it, the intent might be great, but even with great intent, clarity and accuracy and what else? I need a better adjective, but you all get the message, right? Yeah, so that's important, and we put out your message. That's all.
It's really nice, man. It's a really good thing that you're going, because I don't think so. At least in India, as far as I know, most of the people I know, mental health and all of that is just a myth to most of them.
Yeah,
they don't really consider it. I guess as the generations are growing more, they kind of understand. I think. I've had this conversation with my roommates as well. I think our generation of parenting is from where it's going to be W's and W's.
I mean, I guess we get to see that.
Yeah, exactly. Time will really help. I just think that because we have gone through this, we kind of understand.
Yeah.
If our children would have to go through a similar situation, we'd understand where they're coming from. So I think it would kind of get better. Obviously, it's not perfect. It's never perfect. But I think it will get better.
The thing is, what we don't realize is I actually, what you're saying makes a lot of sense, but it's like mental health affects everyone.
Yeah.
Even the previous generation who don't regard it, they also have gone through mental health issues. Mental health affects anyone. Obviously the extent is very different, but everyone goes through, a plethora of emotions, and they might not be able to handle it in the best way, and it might affect them. Everyone goes through things. But even the previous generation has, even the previous generation before that has. But I guess, yes, our generation is more sensitized towards it, and that's what our aim is.
Yeah.
Our aim is to make sure that the next generation or this generation is aware and educated, so that they, cultivate the next generation with that spirit.
Can I ask you something?
Of course.
My question to you is, have you ever gone through certain mental health issues?
I have never been diagnosed with a mental illness or with a mental health related issue. I've never been diagnosed, but I am currently in search of visiting a therapist. So I would just say that during the lockdown, I had a pretty bad phase. I was very sad. I was very, very sad, and the sadness the sadness was there for a bit, and I was resorting to substances. I was smoking, I was drinking, but I was in a very bad space basically then, and so yeah, even I have had my share of mental health related struggles, but I have not visited therapists yet. I've had that, but that is like, it was even while I was building Talk is Underrated. So I'm really grateful that it's past me, that, because of, time, the people who have supported me, and just, I guess, luck. It doesn't work out like that for everyone. It doesn't work out like that for a lot of people. And if I could go back in time, I would obviously want to speak to a therapist or a professional. But obviously, situations vary. Even though some might want to, you might not be able to. So things like that. Like I personally, I felt like I wasn't able to at that time. So yeah, that I guess that answers your question, doesn't it?
Oh, okay. So just for someone, okay, because I have many friends who are very shy of approaching a therapist and all of this therapy, all of that. What is the easiest and, according to you, the most comfortable way to start off? If in case you're always feeling low, always feeling negative, and you think you might want to consult a therapist,
okay,
what is the best way to go about it? Is it through you or is it independent?
I think there are so many different ways for everyone, and what might work out for someone may not. So I think there are many different sources. You could speak to people who have visited therapists to refer you to a therapist, because obviously a personal referral, it is quite a big deal. You could, obviously, there are many apps. There's the Yellow Club, there's Hearted Out. There's a lot of various different apps that help you connect to therapists. And I would say that these apps, I would say they are very, I think they make it very user friendly, because you get to choose, what kind of therapist you want to see. So you get to choose why, you get to input why you want to visit the therapist. You get to see their specifications, what they're specialized in. If, say, you want to talk about them related to your body issues, or related to, say, you feel like you have mental illness, or whether it's something related to academics, relationships, a family, anything like that, you get to see, you get to choose and stuff like that. But obviously, I'm not saying that there's one best way. There are these multiple options. There are people you can ask. There are very reputed mental health institutions and clinics. There are apps. There are there's obviously the internet. I'm not saying go with the internet, but I'm saying if that's what is most feasible to you, that's what, if you don't have someone who can refer it to you, if you're unsure of these apps, you can go on Google, you can search, and you will still find verified sources there. I guess that must answer it, right?
You told me you do poetry as well.
Yes, I do. I love writing, just like how we were talking. How you said that you had started, visions. And how, you wanted to spread your visions, your writing to more people. I completely resonate with that. I love writing, even if it's not poetry. I write every single day. I journal every single day. Because there are certain things that you can't tell people. There are certain things that, they are your things that you want to keep to yourself. So I write. And when I can turn those things which I want to keep to myself into something that's that sounds good, I make that poetry.
So how long have you been writing? You've been writing poetry,
So actually, your roommate is one of the main reasons why I got into actually putting my poetry out there.
In case you don't know, my roommate is Amit. Here, I see somewhere. Here's the picture of Amit. Yeah. This is Amit. Okay, go on.
And so basically, I had just mentioned that during the lockdown, I was not in the best of places. So when I was not in the best of places, I would write. I would write and I would upload these as my Instagram captions on my spam account. Okay? And Amit was one of the people who was on my spam account. And one day he just hit me up bro, what you've written is actually really beautiful, and it looks really good. It's nice to read, something like that. And I was like, what are you talking about? I am literally just writing because I wanna somehow I just needed an outlet. and I'm much more of a person who likes to talk to people like in real life. So when it was the pandemic, I didn't have that. So so like I liked this outlet. It was very much in control, and I then slowly I somehow turned that spam account. I made it public, and more I let more and more people read my poetry, and somewhere along the line I performed it for the first time when I came to college in Bangalore. I performed it over here, and I received a lot of like feedback for it. I was motivated by the outcome of it. Although that's not something you might want to base your art on. Yeah, it's not the most sustainable thing, but it's natural.
Yeah. It's very human of everyone.
Yeah. And I think we understand that like a lot. So with that, I had uploaded it on my Instagram because I genuinely think I am addicted to Instagram and not in like a healthy way.
Okay.
Like because I just love posting on there.
Okay.
And I'm trying to reduce how much I use it, but I use it a lot. So I had put it on there, and it was a very wholesome piece.
Yeah.
Like it was basically a thing called a letter to all of you sitting, all of you watching. And it was just compliments on compliments on compliments.
Yeah.
And it just made everyone feel good, and I was like, this is so nice. And it was easy. I could just write it very easily. So I would lie on my bed, I would look up at the ceiling and think, okay, if I clicked on a video and I saw something that would make me feel nice, what would it have to say? What would that person have to say? And I just thought of that, put that on paper, and I started making videos like that. But that's a very media part of my poetry. I still write things that I really, really want to write. And then I signed up for a few poetry competitions. I won a few poetry competitions.
Yeah.
Oh, I was supposed to say the name.
No, I'll bleep it out.
I won a few poetry competitions in college.
Yeah.
And I still wrote poetry, and then like I saw an online ad for poetry publishing, and I just submitted it and I got selected for it. It's not by like a huge publishing house or anything, but still it was a good.
It's still something though.
Yeah, it's still something, yeah. And yeah, that's how. But I love poetry. Like writing and reading poetry is so cathartic. It's one of my favorite pastimes. Yeah.
What's like a very common topic you write about?
The past. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just last question about this. Like, why the past? Why the past?
Cause I guess it's just I guess when I write poetry, I write about things and times and people who I felt a lot about.
Yeah.
And obviously you will feel a lot in the present too, but like when you reflect on things, it's like you kind of add a layer to it. Like, okay, you felt 50, but when you reflect on it, you'll feel 100. So it's, it's nice to write about it. It feels good. It feels like that's where you're leaving it at.
Yeah. I think there's a little bit of poetic freedom there.
Yeah, there is.
Because when you look back at it, you can interpret it in whatever way you like.
I mean, I think the thing with poetry is that you can do that with the past, the present, and the future.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just, you can like do.
You have a lot of freedom there.
There is so much freedom.
Because it's your work, no one's going to say anything about it.
Exactly. And it's so weird. Poetry is all about perception. If someone might find it really good, someone might not find it really good, someone might find it neutral, either. And yeah, so it's just for you. You can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
I like writing about the past. You might like writing about something else. That's yours.
Fair enough. So, I know you have Dog is Underrated, you have your poetry, and in addition, you have like your own kind of brand, don't you? The Anoop. Because I've seen your account. There is a little bit of story. There's a little bit of. So tell me, what is like your brand? Like apart from Talk is Underrated and all of that, you as an individual, what is your brand? What do you represent? What do you stand for?
I mean, I would say throughout my life, I've always been working towards things that I believe in.
Yeah.
Like ventures that I believe in. Anything. Whatever. I love working for myself. And I think my account represents that. It's all my interests. It's all the things I want to put out to the world. It's all the messages I want to put out to the world. It has a lot of wholesome stuff. It has a lot of just plain nonsense that I make. It has fitness in it. It has everything that I am as a person. But no, I would say it doesn't have everything I have as a person. It's everything that I like to show to the world.
Yeah.
That is your.
I mean, isn't that the whole point of social media? You put your best foot forward.
Exactly. I mean, I have to say that because I can't say that. I can't sit here and say that it is.
It is me every day.
No,
It never is.
I only upload what I want others to see. It's very.
And what genuinely looks good, like.
Yeah, that too. You know, it's just. But I think I've shifted from I only upload what I want others to see to I only upload what I want to upload, what I like, what I enjoy, things that I want to share.
Yeah.
A good moment that I want to savor, stuff like that. But yeah, coming back to your question was my account and my brand is just everything that I stand for, and it's like it's a place and it's a thing that I will always keep growing. Like it's me. It's like I'm always going to be pushing myself.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be starting new things. I'm always going to be working towards things that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And I feel like my account reflects that. And I would like my life to reflect that too.
So, give it 5-10 years, where do you see yourself? In respect to your brand and in respect to Talkers Untitled, where do you see, like, 5-10 years down the lane? So, you're done with your degree.
Yeah.
You're going to pursue masters as well?
Somewhere along the line, yeah.
Okay, so then you pursued your masters, you're somewhat settled. Where is Anoop? What is he doing? And where is everything?
Ideally, how I would like to see Anoop is owning his own business. So I've always been into social entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And that's the specialization I've taken, entrepreneurship. So by 10 years, hopefully I should have a social venture, which both brings in money as much as that's needed for me to sustain myself, and also provide something of value, you know, to others. I would like that. I want to see a definite change in the mental health sector with our country. I would like to see myself working towards that because in terms of myself, and so social entrepreneurship, mental health change. And I just hope to be doing things that I find pleasure in.
Yeah.
And working towards things that I'm passionate about and truly believe in. And yeah, that's it. That's how I would like to see myself in 10 years.
Okay. So, do you know, right? You watch anime, I assume.
A little bit.
A little bit. Here and there.
Yeah, here and there.
Fair, that's more than enough. So, you know how every story is divided into arcs?
Arcs, yes.
What would you say your current arc is?
Oh.
If you had to title your current arc.
If I had to title my current arc, I would call it loading. I would call this arc loading because it's like there are things that are in the works.
Yeah.
But it's like the final product is still yet to come. So I would say loading, working towards. I wanted to fit it in one word.
Yeah. So loading makes
Loading,
sense.
yeah. I would call this arc loading. Yeah. Anoop's loading. No, that's a little too.
Just loading.
Just loading. Yeah, fine.
What do you think your next arc would be like? Because now you're loading up. What's next?
If this is loading, I would say the next arc should be becoming. Yeah.
That's a really nice way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where I reverse the role.
Sure.
This is where if you want to ask me a question, you can. There are two rules. One, it shouldn't be a question that's been previously asked here on the show.
Okay.
Second is it can't be directly related to the podcast.
Okay, got it. You know, at many points of this podcast, I wanted to ask you questions, but I didn't know if like you wanted to get the most out of like my like.
Okay, you know what? I'll give you 3 questions. You can ask me anything.
I'll ask you. I have a few questions. So one was, you know, you like capture these experiences that people want to share, right?
He's talking about the Toby.027 account. It's on Instagram. If you haven't checked it out,
Yeah.
You'll get context. Yeah, go on.
That and even your YouTube channel.
Fair enough. And then, 50-50. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Don't scroll down, guys. Go on.
So, wouldn't you somewhere along the line want like someone, like the roles to be reversed? Like,
someone to ask me
someone
questions.
to ask you a question. Like, see what I'm doing right now, but in a more, you see, this is still like the base is you asking me.
Yeah.
This is like a small portion of. Would you like want an exclusive?
See, I wouldn't
experience sharing.
See, I would be lying if I said I didn't. Like, obviously, I've seen that happen. The entire thing about how this show started, like how the whole podcast started, was just me thinking when I was in a random aircraft somewhere, like going home. I was just having this podcast in my head. I was like, I think I can do this better. But then the most fundamental part of it was I just wanted to talk. So somehow that wasn't feasible in a podcast when you had guests in it. But I have had conversations like this, like the conversation we're having right now, where I get to talk as well.
This is very...
No, but like that still counts though.
It does, yeah.
Plus, like I've had talks with my roommates, with my friends, over a cup of coffee. Like that, all those things really do count.
I'm saying documented ones.
I would be lying if I said I didn't.
I think we should have a panel where it's people interviewing Toby.
Yeah, no, because I don't know.
Like multiple people asking Toby questions. I think that would be fun.
Okay. Give them a fucking like goal and then we'll...
Like goal. What is like a usual like goal?
I'd have no idea. I've never set a like goal.
10. Give 10 likes to this video if you want to see Toby interviewed by a panel of people.
Hey, yo. I fair enough. 10 likes and I'll do it for some reason.
Yeah.
Alright.
I have other questions too. Could you tell us more about your vision with both your YouTube channel and with Toby.027?
Okay. So the Toby account was, again, somehow my roommate is involved in this story as well. He's involved in legit everything. So we were just chilling and we were in the hostel at that point. So we were just chilling and then he was telling me about how bad his life has been so far. He's like, hey, nothing's really working out, everything's looking down. And I was like, no, you would be surprised to know everyone's been like going through the same shit. And that's legit what happened. I just asked a couple of people how they were feeling honestly. And I recorded that in audio format and I just played it to him and he was like, oh, if someone made a page about this, it'd be damn cool. And that's where the wheel started turning. That's where it started.
I'm glad you acted on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he did play a very vital role. He's the one who was like, you should.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. And honestly, that it was just started to share like experiences of other people because it'd be so cool. Because the first video was his video where he spoke about this girl he really liked back in LKG. Nandini. Like no one would have. Nah, it's fine. Okay. If Nandini you're watching, like still hit us up, Amit's kind of waiting things. I'm just saying, like, no one would have ever heard that story if it wasn't for that, right? Similarly, other people's first time falling in love, someone's, I've met a person who felt really bad about breaking up with someone. And his last text was, if you could see me now, even if you didn't like it, I'd still be like really glad if you could like just see me right now. Things like that are just unspoken words, unfinished thoughts, unfinished symphonies that I kind of want, fancy word, that I just kind of want to put out there. So with the Toby account, I generally don't see any sort of change. I just want to keep doing it the way it is because I think it's quite perfect. Maybe there could be improvements here and there, but as a solo man team, I don't think so that's generally going to work. Because I have a couple of ideas, but I need more people in it.
Of course.
And to be honest, it's just like me wanting to share, like to have this idea or this thought that I'm making content. So it serves that purpose very well. And in addition, I might turn into something even bigger. Like I never know. But that's that. Now, with the YouTube channel and my podcast and all of that, that's all around my central brand, that is the TJ Studios. Yeah. So my entire philosophy is that if you put your heart into something, you can achieve it. No matter the age, no matter your conditions. If you genuinely want it, you can genuinely chase it. And that's what I want to tell. I want to tell the story where you dream, you create, and you inspire other people. That's legit what I want with. Obviously, I want to make money off of it. There's no way I can live without the money. But that's genuinely what I just want to show that if I had someone in my like late 10, 11s, let's say 10, 15s, if someone was like, you know what, if you can genuinely pursue this, you can reach somewhere with. If someone told me this then, and if someone just pushed me a little bit, I think I would have been much bigger in terms of like me as a creator. Right? But I think even you would wish that at one point if someone kind of forced you a little bit more.
I mean, or
at least guided you. In a way.
I feel like I've been really blessed with people in terms of motivating me. But I completely get what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, I just felt that way, like if someone had kind of pushed me. And that's what I want to put out there. Like, no matter the age, no matter your situations, if you genuinely love it. For me, it's videography, it's podcasting, it's dancing.
Dancing?
Again, don't scroll down on the YouTube channel. It's all these things that I'm really passionate about, but I never really pursued wholeheartedly.
Okay.
Again, because of the Indian mindset, because of my, like, I understand where my parents came from, because they were in that sort of mindset where, like, oh, if you don't have education, if you don't have like a job or something, you won't survive. They still have that mindset, but now I'm like openly fighting it because I know like I can make something out of this. I just want to make this something like an inspiration story, but at the same time create content like until I die. Like if by the time I'm 26, I'm making content for a living, that's a W in my book.
That's great. It's really refreshing to hear something like that.
Yeah. You got any more questions?
Yes, I do.
One final one. Let's have it.
One final question. Okay, Toby. So Toby, my final question to you is that it's actually like two questions.
Yeah.
So ever since you started making content, you've been making it for a while now. I think even before I have. I only started probably like 2020.
Yeah.
So like ever since you've made content, you've been making content, art and all that. How do you think it's changed or like it's helped you grow?
How it's changed me as a person. So what I've realized is that my content is basically a reflection of me. What I'm feeling currently is what I'm going to put out. I'm not going to put out something that I felt like years ago. Like even if the context is, oh, I felt this back then, it's still something I'm feeling at the time. So I've understood the fact that as a content creator, I always put what's in my heart and in my mind out there more than anything else. And in a way, when you create stuff, right, you kind of realize, this is a very existential kind of a thing. You kind of realize how what you do doesn't really impact much. Doesn't really impact much people. I'll tell you exactly why. Like, I know you're like...
No. I understand.
Yeah. Because, first of all, your audience in comparison to the entire world is so small.
Yeah.
Right? So, secondly, that kind of gives you a scale of which you should grow or how unique your content must be to catch up so that everyone kind of realizes that you exist and that you create stuff and all of this. I don't know why I'm saying this. But yeah, that's something I've realized. And in addition, I've also realized this one very fundamental thing that I realized right off the bat of the first episode of the podcast is that there will always be someone who will pull you down.
Oh my god, that was my second question. That was literally my second question.
Ask.
My second question was that you obviously, as anyone who puts themselves out there, would face some backlash.
You have to.
I have to, yeah, for sure. So my question was basically like,
how do you deal with it?
I mean, I know I've already spoken to you about it, but I thought it would be good for your viewers to know your perspective.
So just like any other human being, it starts with raging emotions. My testosterone goes all over the places. But then I tend to make sure that I'm offline before I send something out that piss people off and like ruin whatever image they have of me. Because honestly, it's just that fit of anger that everyone faces that when I go through. But because I'm in that position where I put it out there, I should be able to receive criticism, good or bad, in the right way. So after that fit of rage, I sit down and I realize that it's a very shallow way to look at it, but it's honestly the truth. Because I've looked into it in the psychological bit as well. It's usually from a place of sadness or from a place of jealousy. Now, I don't know why the jealousy thing exists because like anyone can do this. Like you don't need a camera. You can do it with a phone. You don't need a proper mic. You can start off with your phone mic. Like it's like podcast in general, right? Even in dance, like yeah, some people are born into it, but that doesn't mean you can get better over time. Or even videography. Like I wasn't great when my first edit was ass. But then somehow it just gets better. So I don't get the whole jealousy bit, but that just exists. Some people are just jealous. And that's totally fine. Like everyone gets jealous of each other at one point. The second place, sadness, I kind of sympathize with people because of that. Maybe because they don't have the opportunities that I have to create content the way I do. And maybe the way I got to success or the way, sort of success, I wouldn't say success. Somewhat there is somewhat timing and luck and all of these external factors that no one can really control. So I kind of understand that from their standpoint. And I just kind of tell myself that, listen, you're pissing people off, that means you're doing something good. Alright, so Anoop, if anyone wants to reach out to you, if anyone wants to talk to you, what is the best way to contact you and just give them all your social media handles and everything?
The best way to contact me is not email, but I would say the best way is probably through WhatsApp or Instagram. My @ is Anoop Anil. Don't ask me why it is that. And I guess WhatsApp, I don't know how you're going to get that, but yeah, you can get me through Instagram and follow Talk is Underrated. And yeah, that's it. I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Likewise, it was a pleasure.